Ever wondered which song launched a band from clubs to stadium tours overnight? Or which track was recorded in one perfect take after dozens of failed attempts? How about the song that was banned from radio stations, yet still became one of the year's biggest hits? What if I told you all of these stories happened in one single year, 1967, a year that transformed rock music forever? 1967 wasn't just another year in music history, it was the epicenter of the psychedelic revolution, the heart of the summer of love, and the moment when rock truly became an art form. This was the year that gave us masterpieces that still send chills down our spines more than 5 decades later. Stick around because you won't believe the hidden details behind these unforgettable classics that change music as we know it. From studio secrets to behind-the-scenes drama, these are the 1967 rock songs we'll never forget. Number 1, The Doors, Light My Fire. When it comes to explosive debuts, nothing compares to The Doors' breakthrough hit. That hypnotic organ intro, Jim Morrison's seductive vocals, and that extended instrumental break. Light My Fire wasn't just a song, it was a revolution. Formed in Los Angeles in 1965, The Doors had been building a following on the Sunset Strip, but everything changed when they released this 7-minute masterpiece. Most people don't realize it was actually written by guitarist Robbie Krieger, not Morrison. And here's something even more surprising. The band had to cut the song down to under 3 minutes for radio play, removing Ray Manzarek's iconic keyboard solo and most of the instrumental section. But the real controversy came during their performance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Producers asked them to change the line, "Girl, we couldn't get much higher because of drug implications." Morrison agreed, then defiantly sang the original lyrics on live television anyway, getting the band banned from the show forever. That rebellious move cemented The Doors' reputation as rock's dangerous new force. From its jazz-influenced structure to its fiery performance, Light My Fire remains one of rock's most electrifying moments. Number 2, The Beatles, A Day in the Life. If there's one song that defines the creative peak of the Beatles, it's the epic finale to their groundbreaking album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. A Day in the Life isn't just a song, it's a cinematic journey through sound. By 1967, the Beatles had stopped touring to focus entirely on studio experimentation, and this track showcases just how far they were willing to push the boundaries. The song represents the perfect Lennon-McCartney partnership, John's dreamy, newspaper-inspired verses contrasting with Paul's upbeat middle section. But did you know it took an entire orchestra to create that mind-bending crescendo in the middle and end of the song? Producer George Martin instructed each musician to start at their lowest note and climb to their highest, creating that swirling, chaotic soundscape. And that final piano chord, it was played simultaneously on 3 pianos by John, Paul, George, and producer George Martin, then engineered to sustain for a full 42 seconds. The BBC initially banned the song, convinced the lyric, "I'd love to turn you on," was a drug reference. Whether you hear it as a commentary on modern life or a psychedelic masterpiece, A Day in the Life remains the perfect encapsulation of the Beatles at their most innovative and influential. Number 3, Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze. That's all it took for Jimi Hendrix to rewrite the rules of what was possible with an electric guitar. From its disorienting opening riff to its swirling psychedelic atmosphere, Purple Haze announced the arrival of rock's greatest guitar innovator. Released in 1967 on Are You Experience, this track showcased Hendrix's revolutionary approach to the instrument. Many fans believe the song was about a powerful LSD trip, Purple Haze all in my brain. But Hendrix insisted it was inspired by a dream where he was walking under the sea. The song's most famous line, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," is often misheard as, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy." a mistake Hendrix found so amusing he occasionally sang the wrong lyrics on purpose during live performances. The distinctive sound came from Hendrix's use of the Octavia pedal, developed specifically for him by engineer Roger Mayer. It added an upper octave to every note, creating that otherworldly tone that guitarists have been trying to replicate ever since. With its innovative production, boundary-pushing guitar work, and Hendrix's effortless cool Purple Haze didn't just define the sound of 1967, it changed the sound of rock guitar forever. Number 4. The Velvet Underground. Heroin. In a year filled with psychedelic escapism, one band dared to show the darker side of the counterculture. Heroin wasn't just shocking for its explicit subject matter, it was revolutionary in its raw, unflinching approach to both sound and lyrics. The Velvet Underground's debut album, produced by Andy Warhol, was initially considered a commercial failure, selling only 30,000 copies in its first 5 years. But as Brian Eno famously said, everyone who bought one of those 30,000 copies started a band. At the heart of this influential album was Heroin, Lou Reed's harrowing 7-minute journey into addiction. What makes this track so powerful is its innovative structure. The song literally mimics the experience of the drug, starting slow and deliberate before building to a frenzied pace with John Cale's screeching viola creating an almost unbearable tension. Reed's deadpan delivery of lines like, "It's my wife and it's my life," shocked listeners used to more metaphorical lyrics about drug use. Most radio stations refused to play it, record stores banned it, and critics were divided. But its influence on future generations of musicians can't be overstated. From punk to alternative rock, countless artists have cited this brutally honest masterpiece as the moment they realized rock music could tell the whole truth, not just the pretty parts. Number 5. Aretha Franklin. Respect. Sometimes the most powerful songs aren't written for their eventual interpreter. They're completely transformed by them. When Aretha Franklin recorded Respect in 1967, she didn't just cover Otis Redding's original, she completely reinvented it. After leaving Columbia Records for Atlantic, Franklin was looking for material that would showcase her powerful voice and gospel roots. Producer Jerry Wexler suggested Redding's 1965 hit, but Aretha did something revolutionary. She changed the perspective. What was originally a man's plea for recognition from his woman became a woman's bold demand for equality and dignity. The genius of Franklin's version goes beyond her electrifying vocal performance. She added the iconic R-E-S-P-E-C-T spelling and the "Sock It To Me" backup vocals sung by her sisters Carolyn and Irma. Most people don't realize that famous saxophone solo was played by King Curtis in just one perfect take after numerous failed attempts. The song earned Franklin her first 2 Grammy Awards and became an anthem for both the civil rights and women's movements. More than just a hit record, Respect captured the changing social dynamics of 1967 America and gave voice to demands for equality that still resonate today. Number 6. Jefferson Airplane. White Rabbit. A bolero rhythm, literary references, and one of the most powerful female vocal performances in rock history, Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit wasn't just a song. It was the perfect distillation of San Francisco's psychedelic scene. Clocking in at just under 3 minutes, this track from Surrealistic Pillow became the soundtrack to 1967's Summer of Love. Singer Grace Slick originally wrote it for her previous band, The Great Society, but it was with Jefferson Airplane that the song reached its full potential. Using Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland as a brilliant metaphor for drug experiences, lines like, "One pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small," allowed the band to slip drug references past radio censors. What many don't know is that Slick composed the melody after listening to Miles Davis's Sketches of Spain for 24 hours straight, crafting a song that builds in intensity like a Spanish bolero. Unlike many psychedelic tracks of the era that meandered, White Rabbit is meticulously constructed, building to Slick's final powerful note that she holds for an astonishing 8 seconds. Despite its obvious drug references, the song reached number 8 on the Billboard charts, becoming Jefferson Airplane's second hit single and cementing San Francisco's status as the epicenter of the psychedelic movement. With its hypnotic bass line, literary allusions, and Slick's commanding vocals, White Rabbit remains one of the most distinctive songs of not just 1967, but the entire decade. Number 7. The Who. I Can See for Miles. If you're looking for the perfect blend of pop sensibility and sonic experimentation, look no further than The Who's only US top 10 hit. With its cascading harmonies, thunderous drumming, and Pete Townshend's razor-sharp guitar work, I Can See for Miles pushed the boundaries of what was possible in a radio-friendly format. Released in October 1967 on their album The Who's Sell Out, this track represented the most complex recording the band had attempted to date. It took so long to perfect that bassist John Entwistle later called it the hardest song we ever did. Townshend had actually written it 2 years earlier but held on to it, considering it his best song and wanting to save it for the perfect moment. Despite his high expectations, Townshend was crushed when it only reached number 10 in America and number 9 in Britain. What most fans don't realise is how revolutionary Keith Moon's drumming was on this track, using 2 bass drums to create that rolling thunder effect that influenced generations of drummers. The song's bitter lyrics about being able to see through a lover's lies were inspired by Townshend's own experience, but the soaring chorus transforms this anger into something transcendent. Jimi Hendrix was so impressed by the song's power that he asked Townshend, "How did you get that sound on I Can See for Miles?" Though it didn't reach number 1 as Townshend had hoped, time has proven this to be one of The Who's definitive achievements. A perfect marriage of experimental sound and pop structure. Number 8. Buffalo Springfield, For What It's Worth. It's come wrapped in gentle melodies and observational lyrics. When Stephen Stills wrote For What It's Worth, he created an anthem so universal it has soundtracked social movements for more than 5 decades. Contrary to popular belief, this song wasn't written about Vietnam protests or national unrest. It was inspired by a local event on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. In November 1966, young people protested a strict curfew enforcement and the closing of a popular nightclub, leading to confrontations with police. Stills witnessed the events and quickly composed what would become Buffalo Springfield's signature song, released in early 1967. The track's minimalist arrangement, built around that distinctive, echoing guitar figure, gives it a tension that perfectly complements Stills' cautionary lyrics. Neil Young's haunting counterpoint guitar lines add to the unsettled atmosphere, though many don't realise this was one of the few Springfield songs where Young didn't play a prominent role. Producer Charlie Green accidentally erased Richie Furay's vocals during mixing, forcing the band to re-record them at the last minute. Number 9. The Rolling Stones. Ruby Tuesday.
Yesterday,
in a year dominated by
don't
psychedelic
matter
experimentation,
if it's
the Rolling
gone.
Stones released a song that proved they were more than just rebellious rockers. With its delicate arrangement, melancholic melody, and surprisingly poignant lyrics, Ruby Tuesday revealed a softer, more introspective side of rock's bad boys. Released in January 1967 as part of the American version of Between the Buttons, this track reached number 1 in the US, displacing another song on our list, I'm a Believer. While Keith Richards is often credited as the primary songwriter, the song was largely written by Brian Jones, whose multi-instrumental talents shine throughout the recording. Jones played the distinctive recorder parts that give the song its wistful quality, while Bill Wyman contributed the melodic bass line that anchors the track. What many fans don't know is that the song was inspired by Linda Keith, Richards' girlfriend at the time, who had left him for Jimi Hendrix. The lyrics describe a free-spirited woman who would never say where she came from and Just Cast Away. Number 10. Pink Floyd. See Emily Play. In the summer of 1967, a song appeared on the British charts that sounded like nothing else. Playful yet mysterious, catchy yet unsettling. With its whimsical lyrics, innovative sound effects, and dreamlike atmosphere, See Emily Play introduced the world to Pink Floyd and their brilliant, troubled frontman, Syd Barrett. Released as only their second single, this track reached number 6 on the UK charts, giving Pink Floyd their first and only hit during the Barrett era. The song was inspired by a real person, Emily Young, the daughter of British aristocrat Wayland Young, whom Barrett spotted at a party. But the lyrics quickly drift into Barrett's surreal dreamscape, with lines about games for May and floating on a river of crystal light. The recording process was as experimental as the song itself. Producer Norman Smith used phasing effects to create those disorienting swirls that appear throughout the track. The piano was treated with tape echo, and Barrett's guitar was run through primitive electronic effects to achieve those otherworldly tones. Tragically, this early success coincided with Barrett's deteriorating mental health, exacerbated by heavy LSD use. During a disastrous appearance on Top of the Pops to promote the single, Barrett was nearly catatonic, staring blankly into the camera. 1967 was more than just a year. It was a revolution in sound, culture, and consciousness that changed music forever. These 10 songs didn't just define an era, they created the blueprint for everything that followed. From hard rock to progressive experimentation, from protest anthems to psychedelic journeys, the music of 1967 continues to inspire and influence artists more than 5 decades later. But now it's your turn. What's your favourite song from 1967? Did we miss a classic that you think deserves recognition? Let us know in the comments. If you love this journey through rock history, don't forget to subscribe and check out our video on the most influential producers of the 1960s. Keep the music alive.